I'm standing outside the Roxy Theater right off of Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, and we're standing here actually with the Sneaker Pimps. These guys are awesome. They're over from Britain, doing a little tour here, playing at the Roxy tonight. So thanks a lot for being here, guys.
It's a pleasure.
All right, now I want to ask you some questions. The first thing, you've obviously made it in the music world. Your music's great, and I consider you successful. I'm sure you guys do too. So, when in your life did you guys know that music was going to be your full-time gig? That's what you wanted to do.
I think that's different for all of us. I know that I kind of just went with it, and I learned a couple of instruments when I was maybe about 13, 14, and then I went to college, and then I dropped out of college, and here I am. But I think Dave kind of knew when he was about 1 that
my dad was a drummer, and I played drums when I was a little kid, and I sort of just always knew I never doubted for a second that I was going to be a drummer.
Right.
Not necessarily a successful one, but I knew that was what I would do.
All right.
So.
When did, for the viewers that don't know, when did you guys come together, as a band?
About 95, I think, vaguely.
Yeah. Actually, touring, probably 96, but the album was sort of completed in 95, and we started touring, and we gathered the band about 96. Yeah.
And now, did you guys all go to school when you were younger? Did you know each other? How did you come together?
Kind of. It's a bit messy. But,
is that right?
Yeah. Liam, who isn't here at the moment, he was my friend from an early age, and he knew these guys. He went to art college with them, and I was doing music with him, and we found these guys, and here we are.
Great, that's cool. So now, what's the most fun part of being in a band and touring around the world, playing at places like this? Well, what's the best part?
The best bit is you just get to see places that you normally wouldn't have an opportunity to see, really. So it is the straightforward travel side of it, which, while it can be very sort of tiring, it still means, certainly the places we've been as a band, as an individual I would have never had an opportunity to go to, so say somewhere like Japan or something.
Right.
Whereas I may not have always wanted to go be in a band, but I always wanted to go to Japan. So, there's that kind of side of it is really sort of special.
Cool.
It's also, touring also gives you the highs and the lows for a kind of healthy, creative outlook, I think.
Right.
So that's what I get from it, I think.
All right. Now, what? Obviously, it's fun, but I'm sure it's got its hardships, and there's some of it's not always the greatest. So, what's the hardest part of being in a band, and I guess constantly working on new music and touring around playing? What's the hardest part?
It's sort of like the same answer that we just gave in a way. It's like everything. One day doing something that it can take so long. You do so much in one day. In the space of one day, we kind of played a gig in New York City, got drunk, sobered up, got on a flight, came to LA, and we're setting up a second gig, and we've done all that, and it's just
kind of like a blur after a while.
Yeah, so that all happens so quickly, and if you're in the mood for that, it's fantastic, and you can really get a lot of adrenaline from it. But if you're not in the right mood, then it just makes you want to go to bed.
Right. How do you guys still get nervous? I imagine being up in front of all these people playing your music.
Strangely enough, no, I've never been nervous. Wow. I think, maybe a couple of times, we're really sort of high-pressure gigs, maybe, when it's been really important. There's been a few nerves, but I don't really get it. I don't know why. I think it's just, I find it so enjoyable and attractive.
Get like an adrenaline rush?
Yeah, very much, yeah.
So do you guys have any ritual before you start playing? Anything you do every time? And kind of like get together and scream and holler?
Drink.
Like yeah, drinks away.
Yeah, and we don't. We're very English, so we don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we sort of, I suppose, stare intensely at each other and kind of go, "You ready?"
See who's going to crack first.
Yeah, under the pressure.
That's cool. So, what's your favorite part of the world that you've played in? I guess you've been all over. What's the best part?
I think Japan, as Joe mentioned, was a fantastic place to go to. Also, Australia, for me, was amazing. We've kind of America. We've done quite a lot of now. So it's still there's a novelty in some of these other places you go to less
Right.
frequently. So
Right.
Australia, I'll say.
Yeah, that's quite. Yeah, I wish I've never been outside. I mean, I've been outside the U.S. a little bit, but to get the tour around seems pretty cool. So, what are your thoughts on MP3s? Because I know that you guys actually did something pretty cool. A lot of bands are like, "Oh, MP3s are the devil. They're going to take all of our money and all this." But you guys actually pre-released some of your tracks from Bloodsport almost a year before your album came out, which was pretty cool. So,
Yeah, that was us kind of reacting against the system because it was very hard for us to get a record out at that time. We were going through a lot of troubles with the record industry and our company and stuff, so it seemed like a really good thing to do. And no, we embrace it completely, I think.
Right. So do you feel that MP3s take away from your sales?
No, it's very good promotion,
Yeah.
I think, and you know, people are going to get it. So
Yeah, it's an optimistic way of looking at it.
there's no
you know?
point in being kind of defensive about it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's before we move into the advice, I got one more question for you guys. I want to know what the songwriting process is like, because I know you write your own stuff. And I know usually bands work on one record before, they spend all the time on one record, but are you constantly working on, like right now, or could you be writing right now? Are you constantly working on new ideas, new songs?
We do, yeah. I think we're not your typical band because we all produce our own music. We do separate projects aside from Sneaker Pimps as well. And on the road we have kind of tools that allow us to write new music and produce new music. So we're constantly doing it. When we don't make big blocks of time where we go back and say, right, we're going to go in the studio for now. And so it's always flowing, which is good. I think it's the only way we can really survive, because we're that kind of band.